What's going on, guys? Matt Manduke here, and this is the first of 3 videos from my home time in California. No, I don't live in California, but this is actually a place where I stopped on my way to the Redwood Forest, and that's where the other 2 videos are going to be, is in the Redwood Forest. But I thought that this, I believe this is the Sacramento River, and I thought that this was actually a very beautiful river, as well as a very beautiful landscape, as Northern California is a beautiful landscape, even in the areas where it burnt, and this is just west of where it burnt at last year. But as you can see, the water is clear and comes off as bluish green or greenish blue, however you foresee that, and that also kind of depends on the angle, but like I said, it's mostly clear, and that's not something we're going to get in New Jersey. And you know, there's muddy rivers all over the country, but not all of them are if they're like in rocky scapes and whatnot. But I also thought that the mountainous terrain was interesting. Now, I do have a little bit of a shaky flight in this one, because the drone was trying to tell me that I needed to update the controller, and as you can see, I got pretty close to hitting a tree there. Well, that was because apparently the sensors and everything weren't working properly, so I actually, then look to see how far I am from there and decide that I should bring it back to a little closer. And that's not me on the side there, but I also decide to bring it up higher, because then I see those power lines, and I'm like, well, good thing I didn't fly into them too. And I did get really lucky with this flight, because, well, it could have been horrible. As you can see, if I would have hit those power lines, and looking at what's below there, I might have been able to cross to get to it, but if it fell in the water, I wouldn't have been able to necessarily recover the thing. But then as I'm rising, I can see that there's a couple rafters that are coming through, and I'm thinking, ooh, I'd like to go rafting while I'm there. But I actually did manage to go kayaking while I was in California, but I didn't manage to shoot a video of that while I was there, and I couldn't fly the drone. I wanted to fly the drone where I was, but over the ocean had 40-mile-an-hour winds, and I couldn't deal with that. So, since I spotted the rafters that were coming through, and I'm actually standing close to the bend, you can see that's the rental car there. It was a 2018 Nissan Altima, and I'm actually standing next to the rental car, but I start trying to bring it in closer to these rafters, and that's I'm zoomed in now because, well, I'm kind of looking for where those power lines are, and I'm looking at, the kind of water that there is that they're going through. And it would have been awesome if I could have done that, or if I would have had my kayak. It could definitely get through those kinds of rapids, because those rapids aren't all that bad, and I didn't see any really bad rapids on that river at all. But those people might be local, they might not be, I don't know. But I didn't actually look into doing the rafting thing, because the rafting thing cannot be done by yourself, and I don't have a group of people to do it with. So if I would have had another person, maybe we could have kayaked down, or something to that nature, but I don't have that kind of stuff. And then I'm noticing that one group is waiting for the next group, and they actually wait for the third one. So it's like, oh, they go through single file, but then they wait for each other. And I might have went on the inside of that one, because it looks like it's a little bit more streamlined. But hey, if they can't really control it, then they don't have much of a choice. But because I see what they're doing, and I know what they're doing, I also decide that I want to come up the river a little bit more, so you guys can see a little bit more of the river, since I am still flying around. And I think I have another close call in this video, but I'm not entirely sure. But that's how I ended up landing it after I got nervous about hitting things, because not all the sensors were working. And I think it was like here where I was like trying to come around, and that's why I end up zooming out, because I'm like, oh, I'm flying with a zoomed in thing, and I'm trying to do it like based on not hitting things. And I just thought it was very scenic and beautiful there, and that road that I was driving on had just as many twists and turns as the river did, because they more or less follow the river with the road. And then there's some more power lines there that I hadn't even seen, and I didn't see, because you can't really see the phone screen too well in the sun. You guys all know that. You can also see how the trees grow on the mountain, and you can see how it's mostly dry, and that's because it was like 110 degrees almost the entire time I was there. No, it wasn't 110 degrees in the redwood forest that I went to, and there are redwood forests all over Northern California because they are trying to preserve them. The redwoods, not the, well, I mean, the redwood forest, they're trying to preserve it. But like I said, you guys will see those videos later. And I actually have been angry about California that I haven't filmed yet. At that point, I realized, hey, I could hit that tree, and I don't want to do that, so I back off, and then I'm like, well, let me go see what these rafters are doing, because if I stay over the river, I'm not going to hit anything, and that's ideal, right? So I checked them out, and they're going through some more rapids, and the other ones are kind of further down, and you can see there's another couple that pulled up, and they're walking their dog where I decided to pull over, and that does look like fun, doesn't it? How would the rest of you like to join me? Of course, I don't have any intention of going back to Northern California anytime soon. I mean, there's a possibility, and there are some things that I would do if I had company while I was doing it, but I don't have anyone with me now, and that doesn't mean that I'll never get anybody with me. But at that point, I'm like, well, I think it's time to start working on bringing it back. You can see the erosion on the side of the hill, and well, like I said, you can see my rental car, and I didn't like that one as much as the 2019 has a telescoping steering wheel, and I didn't like it as much as the Chevy because the Malibu got better fuel economy, even though it has a slightly smaller engine. And I mean slightly, because the Malibu has a 2.4 liter and the Altima has a 2.5 liter, and actually the 2.5 liter in the Altima got similar fuel economy to the 3.4 liter 6-cylinder that was in the Impala, and I didn't really like that about it, and it didn't have the power of the Impala either. And that would have been nice on these twisty, curvy roads that go through the Rockies in Northern California. But this is also, I'm getting close to Eureka here, and that was that was where my bartender, no, I didn't drink, but that's where my bartender grew up at, apparently, because when I said I was going to the redwoods, she said that. But I'm getting toward the end of this, so I'm going to go ahead and do the, well, if you enjoyed this and you want to see my other drone flights, you can check out that playlist there. Yeah, or if you want to see my travels and trips, you can check out that playlist there. As always, guys, I want you to like the video, hit that, and I want to thank you for watching. I wouldn't do this without you. I'll see all my friends in my next video.